Okay, good morning. So we are the Group 10 and these are our proposed project or proposed information system entitled Santissimo Rosario Integrated High School Research Paper Compilation System on e-learning inputs to academic performance among senior high students. So basically, this is a research paper compilation system, but this is not just a compilation system because there are so many features that we will be discussed later. Next. Next. Next po. Next, kinig ba ako?
Tita Arjun, may kulang.
Ayan. So let me start with an introduction for you to have a background of why we come up with the research paper compilation system. A word has so much information from your mobile phone, games, social media, and even in different institutions. And some of the institution or organization are handling a large amount of information every day. And some of them are still using the manual tradition of storing data. That's why we have information system. Information system helps to categorize, search, and store the information. Like according to Steven Scalia, information system is software that helps to organize and analyze data. Its main purpose is to turn the raw data into something useful information that can be used by the organization to make a decision. That's why we come up with Santissimo Rosario Integrated High School, which is a school because a school is one of the organization. So before we come up with the compilation system, we conduct an interview. We interview Miss Monica Marasigan. Next. Monica Marasigan Angeles is a 28 years old and 7 years instructor in Santissimo Rosario Integrated High School, handling Practical Research 1 and Practical Research 2 for 5 years, inquiries, investigation, and work immersion, and 21st century literature. With approval, we conduct an interview online about our proposed project, and she willingly shares her experience in teaching students amidst pandemic. So, we asked her some questions and according to, naririnig ba yung next ko? Hello? Ayan. Rinig. Ayan,
Sorry!
so,
May ginano.
okay lang. So, according to her, the school uses two types of modalities in learning. The first one is the MDL or modular distance learning, and the second one is ODL or online distance learning. They have 4 sessions in MDL and 1 session in ODL because not all students have an access to the internet. Next. So, if there is two modalities of learning, so for better understanding, we come up with what happens online and what happens offline. Next po. Ako lang ba yung lag yung cellphone ko or naka-next na sa inyo? Okay. Akala ko lag yung cellphone ko eh. Hindi, yung what happens offline.
Naka-next na rin naman sa...
What happens offline, what happens online. Ayan. So, what happens offline and what happens online for us to have a better understanding of ODL and MDL. What happens offline is at the end of the month, notebooks containing answers to all of their activity tasks and drafts are submitted to the kiosk to final record and grade scores. This time, submission to the kiosk is a must as this will be the final means of grading the students. Those who do not have an internet connection have to wait for their notebook to be checked and returned on kiosk for corrections. Well, what happens online? Submissions via Google Forms make writing teachers a limited way of correcting errors. Thus, teachers assure first those students who had internet access to message students via Messenger the things they need to fix, revise after reading their entry. So basically, in online, they use three platforms: the Google Forms, Messenger, and Google Drives. Next. Next po. Ayan.
Wait,
So, this is the
nabalian
break.
na eh.
Ano, ano, ano?
Nakanext na kanina ba yan? Nakanext na kanina.
Naka-next na. Okay. So, this is the breakdown of what happens in the online academic in Santissimo Rosario Integrated High School. So there are two modalities of learning: the modular distance learning, which handling notebooks, and the ODL or online distance learning, which handling online platforms. And those online platforms are Google Forms, Messengers, and Google Drives. And the research instructors have both access to the MDL and ODL. Okay na po.
Yun. Project context. As we all know, keeping track of the files like compiling, sorting, storing, and categorizing all the data are not convenient for both students and teachers, especially if they are using different platforms in making their research paper. That's why developers decided to develop a research paper system that will help the students and teachers in Santissimo Rosario Integrated High School to send and track their files using a single platform that will be more convenient for them and less time consuming. Next. Next po.
Wait, nabagal talaga siya? Kanina ko pa
Ah.
Sige, okay lang yan.
Kami na lang mag-a-adjust.
mahina kasi yung signal ko, kaya ang bagal niya.
Project purpose. The purpose of this project is to help both students and teachers to access the file and exchange information explicitly using a single platform so that they can use their other time in improving their research paper. Project next pala muna. Next po ulit. Nga. Okay lang yan.
Legit, kanina pa naka-next. Hindi pa rin narinig sa inyo.
Ayan,
Project
ayan.
objectives.
Project objectives. The objectives of this project is to develop a system that includes monitoring, checking, evaluating, and uploading their research paper using a single platform. Specifically, it aims to have different features such as next po ulit.
Na-next na. Legit.
Hindi pa din siya na next.
Okay lang yan.
Naka-next na. Hindi pa din.
Hindi pa nalabas.
Susunod ka pa. Bakit kayo? Ang bagal. Ang bagal naman ito, Christina ko. Yan, wala pa din?
Wala pa din.
Oh, din siya?
Yan, okay. Such as add, view,
Ay, ayaw
edit, and
na pala na
search, compiling, uploading, button for permission, sending, receiving, and deleting the real-time messages, automatically categorize and sorting files, and privacy functions, and where you can run it in a different browsers such as Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Opera Mini. Thank you.
Next.
Next. Ay, ako ka pala. Okay. Scope and limitation. I explained this part, and what is the scope and limitation? It explains how far the researcher can explore in this system and will be operating it and who can operate it. There are super administrator, and the member. So, super administrator explain that the research teacher will be the super admin, will be the research teacher that look after the student do, while the administrator is the one of each group have one representative to talk to the administrator teacher for emergency purposes or ask some question idea, and it is called an admin, while the member students who can upload, send, and also view the paper, this is the limited transaction only. Next. Aside of that, the super admin can manage the all activities, privacy settings of the system, can evaluate the activities and communicate to the admin group. The administrator, conversely, the administrator can communicate to the teacher, super admin for behalf of their group, while the member or student can see the group work, edit, and ask permission. Reasons for this circumstance, members also can seek the advice button. All of this activity demonstrate that it can maintain the record of the student and compile the research paper of the student skillfully and efficiently. Thank you. Next.
Okay, it's mine. So now we're going to... Narinig ako? Guys?
Yes,
Narinig?
yes.
Okay, go. Context diagram. So when we define context diagram, so it clearly defines and clarified the boundaries of each entity. So from the system and to its external entities. So from the system, which is which is our research paper compilation system. So there's boundaries between the system, as I've said, between the system and also the external entities, which are the super admin, administrator, and members. So from super admin, so if they're gonna input, or she's gonna input the revision update, well, she will receive the records and reports. So same as with the administrator, so the input of it are records and reports from his or her group members, and the output and the thing that we will send to him or her is the announcement reports, notes, and paper retrieval. So last, from for the members, so their input will be the research paper or drafts of their research uh, or thesis paper. So then they will receive the announcement. So we're going to use case diagram, or these are the roles and responsibilities or of the single external entities. So for the super administrator, she can manipulate the system, manage the overall records, access the system, manage the students' works, filter and disseminate information to admins, post updates, reports, and announcement to admins. For the administrator, post announcement, manage the research files, access the system, manage the group members, filter and disseminate information to members, generate reports to super admin. Use case diagram. So members can only access the system, upload research files. So ano ba? Earlier we said that members are restricted from are limited from the function. So they can only upload and receive and view announcement also, but not to the point that they can edit the paper of others group, because there's a privacy function. So also they can generate reports to admin. So admin is the one who will be communicate between the members and the super admin. So what is the project development? So this is the waterfall model for our research paper. So number one is requirements gathering and analysis. So the developers collected all the information and possible elements used, like knowing the research teachers, teaching history, concerns, and goals. So for this first step, so we conduct interview to a research teacher from Santissimo Rosario National High School, or basta nakalimutan ko yung school. So, ayun yun. System design. So, in this phase, the developers specify the hardware and software requirements that developers use. Also, they design the layout of the system. So, this is being explained earlier from the conceptual models. Implementation. The third phase is implementation, wherein they do the coding and development of the system. So, this is where the coding and programming happens. So fourth step, testing and integration. The developers may refer to the system super administrator, and administrator can be IT experts, and non-IT respondents perform the testing and evaluation for any faults and failures. So every project, so if in order to be successful, we will need to conduct a testing and integration first, to know if the system is working well. Next one is the deployment. So if the functional and non-functional testing ends, the system is ready to deploy the research features to the client. So in this step, if we're already finished the testing, balik ako. Balik mo na ako.
Balik mo na daw siya.
Balik mo na ako. Hindi, mainit. Magpaalam ka kay Lola. Papansin ka naman eh, no? So yun, the deployment. If the functional and non-functional testing ends, the system, wait lang nga, putik talaga tong bata. So where did I stop? Where did I stop? Deployment?
Yes, deployment.
Okay. Sorry. So deployment, if the functional and non-functional testing ends, the system is ready to deploy the research teachers to the client. So as I've said, if the testing happens successful, so it will be deployed or will be proceed to get started, or the system will be started by our research, ano ba? Ano tawag dun sa ano? Audience? No, 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 no. Our, yan, respective, uh, what do you call that? Ano tawag dun sa ano, respective target. Yon. So our respective target, which are the research teachers. So lastly, maintenance. So lastly, the maintenance phase is needed to ensure the system's longevity and ensure the smooth flow and interaction with the components. So uh, systems can need to be maintained for, so in order that they need to ensure that the system will stay ano ba? The system will not stop for a short time only. So they need to maintain its program, also the hardware components and the software components in order for the system to use for a longer time. Sino yun? Next.
Information system. As you can see in the PowerPoint, it describes what is the information system. Information system. An information system is the information that an organized uses nowadays, and also the way in which people interact with the technology, supports of daily process. In short, we need a serious background and system will be upgraded. Next.
So I'll be the one na lang who introduce each of you guys. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So to sum it up, this is our research compilation system team. So it's from Ms. Contado Kyra, Alpa Elizabeth, Angeles Maria Hazel, Pilabil Ara Jane, Siskora Angelina. So information is only useful when it can be understood. So there's a difference between information technology and information system. But to sum it up, they're both important for us because information technology as well as information system brought by information technology will not only be useful for us but also it will become an easy handy for our jobs and also for our kind of business or anything that needs an information system. Yeah, our life will be more easier and more uh, happier. Oh my gosh. So yeah, there's here's the references po. So ayun na, I also need pala to include that we didn't include the ano ba yun, yung data flow diagram because it's already been explained from the conceptual model and also from the use case diagram. So we don't need that all. So ayun, pag-aaralan ko pa siya na mabuti para mas ma-discuss ko siya